Hey there, how you doing? I figured I'd show you guys a little bit more of different projects and stuff I'm working on. And on this most recent project, I had to buy a new tool, and I love buying new tools, but I usually gotta have an excuse for it. So here's my excuse. It is a trunk lid for a '66 Chevrolet. This one's actually a Biscayne, and this thing is it's just totally rotted out. I mean, it kind of looks like it might just be pitting or whatever, but actually that's all fiberglass. I tried putting some fiberglass in it, I don't know, 12 years ago or something, and it held up okay, but it started to pimple back through and started to delaminate. Plus we're using Bondo back then, and it just don't hold up for nothing. But not to mention going over rust don't help it any. But you gotta have some metal to go over top of, and I got a dent I wanna pull out of it. But my tool that I bought is this Woodward Fab. It's a super bead roller, and it's a pretty neat tool. You can do different kinds of beads and tapers and different things you can do with it. I did a bunch of test pieces, and actually here's one of them. Just been playing around with it, trying to match the profile up, and it's gonna have a sharper corner. This would have been pressed out on dies all at once, and I'm trying to roll this. Picked up some slightly annealed body patch panel steel in 22 gauge. I think this is 20, but or actually that is 20. Yeah, it's 22. This is supposed to be 20 gauge, and I think it'll match up pretty close. I'm not 100% sure this is 20. This is either 20 or 22. I think it's 20, but I'll end up filling it out and everything, so it's not gonna be a big deal if it's a little thinner. But yeah, I figured I'd just show you this and how it's coming along, and I'll show you the finished product. I'm gonna end up cutting along and drop under the keyhole because I don't want to try to duplicate that. And then the back side, I'll show you that in a little bit here. It's even worse. But I'll get it all patched up with some steel, and then we'll see how it turns out. All right, well, the bead rolling is complete, and this is basically the finished product. I made a simple template to get the outside profiles, inside bends, and all that jazz. And a little road map here, pencil marks to guide me and have everything laid out just right. And it came out pretty good. A little bit of pucker here, and a few little things to ding out, but the inside profile seems to be just right. And here's one that I went ahead and bent 90 degrees over on the sides to kind of get me started. I have to replace some metal on the inside, so I'm not going to close it up yet. But here's one that's kind of roughly clamped in place, and I get some more tinging with the body hammer and stuff to smooth some of this out a little bit. But yeah, it's kind of held in place, and I'll go ahead and ting the next one over, and then the daunting task of kind of whittling this in. I got some obstacles, some rust to cut out, some good, I want to keep as much good metal as I can. I don't want to remove too much of the trunk lid, and I have to go around the keyhole. So yeah, but that's where we're at so far, and we'll get back to it. All right, I got the first one about ready to install here. I went ahead and went around all the rusty stuff and around the key here, and I cut that with a 3-inch cut off. I'm gonna go ahead and clean it up, deburr it a little bit, and then I'm just gonna draw this out with a Sharpie, and then I'm gonna start hacking away. All right. Quick shot of the underside here before I start cutting all this out. You can just see how rotten it is, and there's some old fiberglass and stuff in there from a previous attempt to patch it up. I went ahead and started cutting this out, so just need to hack it out of there now. All right, well, you can see the trunk lid flipped over right now, and you can see the extent of the rust on the inside here. It's pretty bad. Started making some little pieces. I'm gonna start fitting in here. We're gonna go ahead and show you. I got the patches in. Worked out pretty good. I only got a real crappy flux core Harbor Freight welder, so excuse my boogers in there, but 10 minutes of welding and 10 hours of grinding. They come out pretty good, so go ahead and work on getting these little patches made. I got a little sandblast I'm gonna do. few spots where I have to keep up just a little bit of rusty metal, just sandblast it clean. And hit this up with some weld-through primer, and I'll have to do this in multiple little pieces and start whittling it in. But all right, back to it. All right, starting to get some patches installed here. That's what I showed you before. They come out pretty decent. Here's what I cut out. Yeah, that's what I put in. So that's a heck of a lot better, and the ground pretty smooth. This one here I just overlapped. I have a flanging tool and just flanged it, and so really trying to keep these dimensions on the outside so when I pull it all back together. And the other side done here too, to the same point. And this piece here is a little tricky. It's got a, you probably can't tell in the video here, but it's just domed in to allow for the lock cylinder for the trunk here. It's got a keeper that slides down and holds the thing in place. And so I got to make that, and I just kept thinking about how am I going to make that, how am I going to make that. So I bought some more tools. I bought this handy dandy English wheel, little Eastwood jobber. It's actually a good little tool. Put it in the vise, and I also needed to stretch the metal a bit first, so I went some racing. I got this hammer in this leather bag, filled it with sand, and I got this piece made. Got a pretty nice little contour, matches up pretty darn good. I gotta do a little whittling, fitting on it. I have to put the slot in it, and then I gotta cut this out. And you know, I'll show you what that looks like when it's done, but I figured I'd show you how it's coming so far. Oops, upside down. So, all right, got the old metal cut out. I laid over a piece of masking tape and laid in for the notches for the keeper and the holes. Get this thing all tweaked out here, and then the holes punched in it. Everything lines up real good. I'm gonna go ahead and put some zip screws in it and start welding it in. All right, it's all welded up. Ugly as can be, but hey, I do what I can. And ground down. I got ahead and got clamped roughly in position just to see how everything looks. And you know, it looks all right. So I'm gonna pull those clamps and stand the trunk lid back up, and then try to blow all the dirt and grind and dirt and dust and stuff out of it, and then see about closing this seam up. All right. All right, seam's all closed up, and it's other than needing some filler and some tapping back, she's all done. So yeah, pretty pleased with how it turned out, and you see how that seam closed up real nice. Yeah. So now that this is done, we're going to be doing some filling, some cleaning, some sanding and priming and all that jazz, and see about getting it installed in the car. Alrighty, thanks for watching.